You mentioned you are Noah Harari and also Klaus Schwab. I heard them saying that it's not anymore important what is above the skin. Now they will know what is below the skin. And even Klaus Schwab said that we will need no any more elections because we will know in front who you're going to vote for. That means they will read our mind and our thoughts.
Yes, I mean, it gets really creepy. It's this sort of like futurism and this melding of humans with machines. It's a whole edict and basis of the world economic, the transhumanism that they promote. And what they've said, he said that out loud, that the idea is they'll know based on AI, based on surveillance, based on monitoring all your activities, how you're going to vote, and why go through the motions of voting? They can just declare the winner based on that. And of course, this is if you trust the system, if it's accurate, and if you trust that people who are actually fair players are in charge of it, none of which is ever going to be true. And when you're looking at, even elections, again, even here in the United States, they're talking about employing all these, mass federal immigration agents at our election. It makes me uncomfortable as a conservative, libertarian Republican. I don't like to see Republican presidents promoting that. The right to vote, of course, is sacred. And I don't even trust the machines at this point. I think paper balloting with oversight is probably the way to go, or simplified electronic. I mean, the idea of these machines and run by big corporations that are tied in with politicians is just, it's crazy to have that. And so, yeah, the World Economic Forum has had a lot of just wacky ideas when it comes to like reading brain waves and digital vaccines that the government can use barcode readers to get. I mean, they say this stuff that's just absolutely terrifying, and I'll say it, Nazi-like, very similar to what Nazi Germany would have lusted after if they had the technology. And it's now been almost normalized. Like, oh yeah, that's so convenient. That's how central bank digital currency sold. That's how AI is being sold. Everything's sold. It just makes it all the more convenient. And of course, censorship is a big part of this. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, they were the huge promoters behind the idea of disinformation. In other words, if you say something that the government or a government agency disagrees with, you're automatically not telling the truth and you should be censored. That's frightening stuff globally. And you have that going on in England. You have it going on throughout Europe. The idea of these unelected bureaucrats that terminate people on, who are like a Facebook post or Twitter can immediately, come and have police arrive at your door. This is not a world we want our kids growing in. This is not a world we want to live in. So if you get me here talking, the more I talk, the more I'm thinking the Great Reset agenda is alive and well, because we need to recognize this. And I think ultimately this comes down to defeat a Great Reset, World Economic Forum, Davos agenda, billionaire agenda. I really believe that where America has gone wrong, and I'm not even sure the election law in the EU or Croatia, but we allow individuals and corporations to give hundreds of billions of dollars, totaling in the billions, actually, for a candidate, for president and senators and congressmen. I think you have to get out big money. I don't think a corporation, I think a person should be severely limited. An Elon Musk should be limited. A Marianne Adelson should be limited. Any other billionaire should be limited to how much they can donate to electable candidates. I think we need lobbying restrictions. Until you have that, because the money flows into these politicians, they're not serving the people anymore. And that's what we're finding out on a whole range of issues. And this cuts both left and right. Libertarians and far, progressive left can agree on these issues. And we also need to break up these big tech companies. The Trump administration, oddly, is making an attempt to sort of break up big tech, break up the monopolies. But I don't think they're really trying that hard, and I don't think they actually want to do it. But I think, we almost need a Teddy Roosevelt-style breakup of big tech oligarchs. We need it with media companies. In the 1990s, we went, I believe, from hundreds of media companies down to a few dozen because of these telecommunications bill, which allowed the consolidation and all these giant monopolies to form. Monopolies are the enemies of free markets and capitalism. And the problem is, and I'm going to criticize a lot of people on the conservative side, on the right side, when you see like a Mayor Mondami in New York City, who's an avowed socialist, wins, we don't give him people giving lectures on TV. Well, capitalism is better than socialism and blah, blah. No, we're not in capitalism anymore. In Europe, this is corporatism. This is ruled by corporate power, ruled by billionaires and oligarchy, whatever you want to call it. And this is where I feel like Donald Trump has as his blind side. And I think that's the problem. J.D. Vance claims to understand it, but look at someone like our vice president, J.D. Vance. He is a tool of Peter Thiel, who is a big tech oligarch. And it's hard to believe that that J.D. Vance can be a populist when he was essentially picked and created by a big tech oligarch. So I look forward and I just feel like we're playing the same old game. They want us fighting each other. They want the big and powerful uniparty establishments of the world in Europe, in the United States, in the Western world, all want us, the people, fighting over abortion and transgender and gun rights and immigration. Well, the real damage happens on top, and they're creating this mass surveillance great reset state through the powers that they have. So I think a candidate should run for president or prime ministers in the EU. And first of all, I think the EU should be broken up. It is a super state disaster that cannot be reformed. And I'm impressed that countries like Switzerland and England have not gotten involved in the EU. But I think we need someone to come in and say no more monopolies, no more big finance money here. And we've got to now allow for no consolidation. Until we understand that, and no AI subsidization, and we need severe restrictions on AI and AI development. We need some way in order to allow for free speech to be universal, and that includes speech that people doesn't like. People are always for free speech until it offends them, then they want to ban it. So, and to give you an example, you have the England going after anyone who speaks against Muslim. In the U.S., we have. And I stood up for the college kids who spoke out, pro-Palestinian, and they get attacked as being anti-Semitic immediately. So you have attacks on free speech from all directions. So the idea that one candidate is free speech, there's very few people that are actually free speech.